was hoping to be cruising the highways by now, but there have been lots of little hurdles. I had to make a full linkage between the shifter and the transmission, and I had lots of little niggling running issues, as you'll see, so they had to be sorted out before I did anything else. But I've got a major issue with the transmission support, so I've got a lot of work before I'm actually on the highway. But for this video, I'll show you all the warts and all of all the things that I've had to overcome. So come along for the ride. So you need about a 10-foot cable to connect the transmission to the shifter, and I found this hydraulic one from Flexo Drive, I think it's called Flexi Drive. So there are a few little modifications I had to do to get it to fit, particularly the end points. These are the pieces to connect to the transmission. That's the standard plate thingy. I cut off the press studded stud, put in a shoulder bolt. That should do the trick. Alright, it's got a bit of sideways slop. I might be able to put more washers behind it. Back there on the original bracket, I'm going to tighten all that up. You can do a bit of adjustment with that end, depending where the thread sits. You're only getting about a 10mm adjustment there. Right, that was easy. Now the other end, not so easy. But sadly, it looks like it's cast in, which does make life more challenging. Well, that worked out okay. I could easily have messed it up because it was literally cast in. I used a 6mm and drilled it on the back and cut the outer flange of the original stud. So they had a flange here. So they cut that off, knocked it through, put a shoulder bolt through. Now I did machine the head so it's quite small, narrow, but 2mm head, and it seats flush, there's no interference. A couple of washers just so I get a bit of space from the edge. Maybe only one washer's needed, and it's a nice fit on 6mm. Okay, look at this mess. So knock this up out of some scrap. Yeah, it might become the final. But anyway, it houses. See, it's got a thing in there. It just pops out like that. Perfect. This is a detail of the shifter control line. So this is a hydraulic cable. They're only 130 bucks plus shipping, another 40, but gets to the next day, which is pretty cool. It took a bit of tweaking to get right. It wouldn't go in park for a while, so you just adjust it here. So I gave it more length this way, moved that out, and then it was like clicking nicely into park. And this is to hold it in place. It's actually not bolted down at the bottom at this stage anyway, but that's just to hold it nice and firm. The actual whole thing rocks around, and when I was test driving I actually was able to pull it across. So before I drove anywhere I had to make sure my drag link was fully connected and greased and sealed. I found the perfect little rubber boots that were from a Hilux, better than the original little boots this thing had. Made sure my U-bolts are all secure, Everything else is secure, and pins on the shock absorbers. So that took a while to get it all 100%. Now, the noise in the front end is the fact that the powder coaters powder coated the braking surface of the drums, which was a bit stupid, I think. So I just thought that would wear off, but it's making horrendous noise, as you heard. So this is the first true old car problem I've had with this build. I used to do lots of old cars in my 30 odd years of messing with cars, actually 35 years. This was completely seized, completely compressed in the bottom. And I thought, oh, just buy a new one. But alas, they don't exist anymore. You can't get them. So I have to revive this cylinder. You can get the internals, not cheap. And this is the way I got it out. I tried air first, sealing all the holes off and putting compressed air in it, and it wouldn't budge. But I just did a really nice thread actually. But I tapped that and there and kept on tapping until it stopped, and then it twisted and then it popped out. Teething problems. The water pump wasn't sealing. As you can see, all the bloody fresh coolant on the ground. Quite muddy in there, which is not a good sign. But anyway, I'm going to clean up that back plate and use some sealant on it. You can see it. There's half a gasket stuck on there at the top there. So that was never going to seal. Well, that was a bonehead mistake, wasn't it? I must have just thrown the water pump on without checking the gasket. Oh, I do heaps of electrical work. So bought one of these universal fuse boxy things. Power in and then ignition power. So the top bank is power in, bottom bank is ignition power. A couple of grounds there too. You can actually have the ground all on one spot, which is a good safe way of troubleshooting. Trying to build a set of two or pair of good condition lights from all this mess. These are my original bus ones, but these hoops are all, spot welds are broken. Actually that one's okay, but say they're broken. There you go, that one's broken. And I realised I had this laying in my junk pile. I think it's from a Hino or an International or something, but they work. They seem to match up. They stick out a little further, so it might look a little bug-eyed, but we'll see. Well, it's not even done up. I can almost put my finger through there. That's why it's making that popping noise. And really glad that happened because look at that. That's a rear brake line leaning against the exhaust. So that's no good. I can adjust it there, I think, so it's not touching. Yeah, I'll tweak that. I'm wondering, it seems to be missing, I think, a little bit. Maybe one of the injector wires isn't plugged right or something. Otherwise the fuel system is working. There's a massive water leak which I've got to fix at the thermostat housing. Sounding a bit better. Still seems to be a leak there. Made servicing a little difficult for myself. This is the only tool I can get that lower screw out, bolt out. Big flexy thing. Otherwise 10 mils are right, and that I had to grind away so it would flatten. But and I have to take that off to get the thermostat. And I'm fixing this plug, and I'm sealing there. Seems to be not sealing, so I'm fixing that up. And double checking all the injector plugs. Some of them are missing the clips, so we'll fix that. Yeah, back to it. Actually, with the throttle body relocator off, it's actually really nice and easy to work on. I'm just making sure all these clips are functioning. There's a couple missing. That's why I was getting intermittent firing issues or injection issues. I've resealed the water with some gasket goop. Yeah, see how it runs after this. And I didn't have a gasket here. I thought I'd put a paper one in there, but I didn't. So I'll put some gasket goop there, and hopefully that's what's causing the idle. We'll see. Oh, I did add this eBay fuel pressure regulator. Yeah, seems to work great. Seems to hold the pressure very steady. I think it's supposed to be under 60. So I had fuel issues, but it was mostly the injectors not seating properly. The wires to the injectors. And the other issue was the vacuum leak here, where there's no gasket. Dropping that boost at the moment, but so eventually I did get it to actually run really nicely, and it accelerates nice and all that. So I took it for a little putt down the local road. Unfortunately, there's an unsealed road here, so it's pretty noisy without any floors and what have you. Going great, and then I accelerated. It's like, whoa, yeah, this is awesome. And then I heard this clunk, 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 clunk. And this twisted, the whole engine twisted on its mounts and caused the drive shaft to knock against the exhaust there. So the issue is that this rear transmission mount is not sufficient. Needs to be far more stable, which is fine because I knew I had to do lots of work on it anyway to incorporate the handbrake system, which I'm going to work on. So no highway runs just yet, so I've got to remove the whole support system and weld up a whole new support base for the transmission, plus allow for the handbrake bracket. But other than that, it's going really well. So the brakes was only a short run, it was only 500 meters. Started to quieten down after that horrible grinding noise. Not grinding, it's more of a rubbing noise. So yeah, it's going to be fine. I think those brakes will be okay. They stop. Yeah, so that's it. So so I'm going to do the complete handbrake system next time. Get it all fitted. A bit of actual serious engineering involved, and take it for a run and get some boost into it. Already I can tell it's going to be pretty mad. Even though I've just been putting along, it's got way more power than it ever had. Yeah, catch you around.